What's up guys? Your diet is arguably the most important component of weight loss. But you're probably confused about what kind of diet you should follow. I mean, if you just do a quick Google search on weight loss diets, you'll come across a dozen of different contradicting answers. I know, it's frustrating and it can feel overwhelming. That's why in this video, I'm gonna teach you exactly what you need to do to develop the perfect fat loss diet for you. Let's get right into it. First, let's talk about why most people fail to lose weight. One of the major reasons people fail to lose weight is because the dieting methods that they use are completely unsustainable. The worst thing you can do is follow some random fad diet that's not sustainable for more than a couple of months at best. There are two major variables that can contribute to a diet being unsustainable. The first reason is that most diets like keto, paleo, or any other diet do not take into account very important variables like your cultural norms, lifestyle, and your dietary preferences. People follow these diets because they heard that they're good for weight loss somewhere, but that simply isn't the case. All diets can be effective for weight loss, so you don't need to do keto just because your friend said it worked for them. The second reason why a diet may be unsustainable is that people simply want to lose weight way too fast. It's not their fault though. You see media advertisements promoting that you can lose 30 pounds in 30 days, which is just freaking ridiculous. Aiming to lose weight as quickly as possible is a recipe for disaster. Most people just crash diets, starve themselves eating like 1,000 calories per day, and once they realize that they can't stick to what they're doing for more than a couple of days or weeks, they blame themselves for not trying hard enough. They spiral out of control and go back to their previous eating behaviors, thinking that they're a failure. In reality, it's not that they weren't trying hard enough, it's just that they had unrealistic expectations. And the methods that they were using to lose weight wouldn't really work for anyone long term. Weight loss needs to be slow and sustainable. So if the biggest reason why people fail to lose weight long term is that their diet is unsustainable, then the perfect fat loss diet is gonna be something that's actually sustainable for you in order to achieve your weight loss goals. Okay, let's quickly talk a little bit about the science behind fat loss to understand how we can develop a sustainable diet using science. When it comes to weight loss, energy balance is by far the most important variable. If you don't know what I mean by energy balance, make sure to check out my video titled What Really Matters for Fat Loss. I'll link it in the description of this video. To lose weight, you need to be in a calorie deficit, which means that you consume fewer calories than your body burns. However, you don't want to be in such a large deficit that you're always feeling hungry. No one has a strong enough willpower to stick to a diet where they're always feeling hungry. If you're starving yourself, you're not going to adhere well to your diet and you're not going to lose weight long term. Therefore, the first step to create a sustainable fat loss diet is to make sure that you're in a reasonable calorie deficit that feels easy to adhere to. Aside from calories, it's also important that you actually enjoy the diet you're on, because if you enjoy the way you eat, then it's going to be easy for you to actually adhere to your diet. On the other hand, if you absolutely hate your diet, you're not going to be able to stick to it long term. This is why it's critically important that your diet accounts for variables like your dietary preferences and your lifestyle. You shouldn't cut out all the foods you enjoy, because that's only going to lead to you feeling absolutely miserable, and it will make dietary adherence more difficult. Okay, let's talk about some general rules and frameworks that I like to use with my clients to develop a sustainable fat loss diet. These rules are all centered around increasing dietary adherence by improving dietary satisfaction and promoting satiety. We're going to divide these rules into two categories, objective and subjective rules. Let's start with the objective rules. Rule number 1, eat sufficient protein. Protein is the most satiating macronutrient, which means that it's going to help keep you fuller for longer than carbohydrates or fats. Aside from keeping you full, consuming sufficient protein is going to help support muscle mass, which is important for obtaining a lean and muscular physique. For most people, you should consume at least 0.8 grams of protein per pound of body weight. You can go beyond this, but it's not really necessary. Rule number 2 is to consume whole and processed foods as much as possible. As previously mentioned, you don't want to completely eliminate foods that you enjoy eating like ice cream, but processed foods should not make up the bulk of your diet. You want your diet to be filled with whole and processed nutritious foods as much as possible. These include foods like meat, eggs, dairy, fruit, legumes, and vegetables. Whole and processed foods are generally way more filling and more nutritious than many processed alternatives, which is what's going to help keep you full and support weight loss. Rule number 3, minimize liquid calories as much as possible. By liquid calories, I'm referring to sugary juices and alcohol mainly. Yes, fruit juice is technically healthy, and it is rich in many different vitamins and minerals, but it doesn't really keep you full at all. A much better alternative is to eat the actual fruit, and if you're in the mood for a sweet beverage, choose a diet version of a drink that's sweetened with a non-nutritive sweetener. These 3 rules, in my opinion, should be non-negotiable. Eating mainly whole and processed foods, focusing on consuming adequate amount of protein, and reducing liquid calories is going to give you the biggest bang for your buck when it comes to staying full and promoting weight loss. Aside from these 3 rules, there are a whole host of other nutritional strategies that can help with hunger and satiety regulation. Some of my favorite include eating at similar times every day, eating mostly the same foods from day to day, making sure you keep healthy foods in easier to reach places at home compared to less healthy alternatives, and choosing foods sweetened with non-nutritive sweeteners to reduce your overall caloric intake. These are simply some of my favorite strategies to use, but there are a number of other strategies that can help with dietary adherence and hunger regulation. However, I wouldn't consider these rules because none of them are non-negotiable. You can simply choose the ones that you want to enjoy and best fit your lifestyle. These 3 objective rules are pretty simple, and they obviously leave a lot of room for customization. As I'm sure you've noticed, I haven't mentioned anything yet about what specific foods to eat and what foods to avoid. That's because your food choices should be influenced by your individual dietary preferences, which brings us to the subjective rules that are important for developing a sustainable fat loss diet. Number 1, you should eat foods you like and avoid foods you don't like. This is literally the most important thing. There are no foods that inherently make you gain or lose weight. As long as you're following the objective rules mentioned previously, you can really eat whatever you want. For example, you should eat sufficient protein, but the protein can really come from any protein-rich food. You should eat sufficient fruits and vegetables, but you don't have to eat any in particular that you don't enjoy. This gives you extreme flexibility when it comes to choosing what foods to eat. Keep in mind that this doesn't mean that you can just eat Snickers bars all day long because you love Snickers bars and you don't eat any fruits or veggies because you simply don't like them. You have the flexibility to choose the foods you eat, but they should follow the 3 objective rules. Aside from food choices, you should also consider variables that are unique to you, like your cultural norms, family preferences, and your lifestyle. How many meals you eat per day, when you eat, and your food choices should be tailored to fit your needs. It doesn't matter if you have 3 or 6 meals per day, and it doesn't matter if you eat first thing in the morning or you fast till noon. It also doesn't matter if you're vegetarian, gluten-free, or pescatarian. Some nutrition professionals may tell you that you need to do some of these things to lose weight, but it's a complete lie. All of these additional small variables that are associated with diet, like meal frequency and timing, doesn't matter nearly as much and should be 100% influenced by your preferences and, again, your lifestyle. If you follow these general frameworks, you'll notice that the perfect fat loss diet for you might look completely different than the perfect fat loss diet for somebody else, which is exactly the point. Your diet needs to be customized to you in order for you to successfully lose weight and improve your health. As long as you follow the objective rules mentioned previously, you should have extreme flexibility in terms of what your diet actually looks like. Make sure you eat adequate protein, eat mainly whole and processed foods, minimize liquid calories, and use different nutritional strategies that help you regulate your hunger and appetite. Now keep in mind that although I did not mention counting calories in this video, you do have to be in a calorie deficit to actually lose weight. However, the objective rules and nutritional strategies outlined in this video should help facilitate being in a calorie deficit. If you want to learn more about how many calories you should be consuming for your goal, I'll link a previous video I made on that topic down in the description. Although this video is specifically about diet, it's important to quickly mention physical activity as well. You can lose weight being completely sedentary, but it's going to be a lot more difficult compared to being physically active. The perfect plan for fat loss should take into account both diet and exercise, and not just one or the other. For weight loss specifically, it doesn't really matter what kind of exercise you do. What really matters is that you get your body moving. Similar to your diet, you should enjoy the type of physical activity that you do so that you're actually adherent to your exercise routine. Alrighty guys, that about wraps it up for this one. If you've made it this far, I have something to give you. I wrote a completely free ebook on nutrition for fat loss. If you're interested in downloading it, I'll provide the link in the description of this video as well. Lastly, I would really appreciate if you took a second to like this video and subscribe to my channel. It truly helps me a ton. Thank you guys. Peace.